And it's another great day for a great show, and I want to welcome you to it. My name is Dean Olson. You're listening and watching StrongWriter on the radio. That's my show. I'm your host, Dean Olson, video and podcast today. And today I have the pleasure of meeting a very fantastic artist who I just met a couple minutes ago. He's a songwriter from the Nashville area, and he has a very compelling story to tell, which I've looked into. You're really going to be... it's going to blow you away, and he has a brand new album called Nobody Cries Today, which is set for release on June 5th of 2020. And I just want to welcome you all. Please join me as I get acquainted with Mr. Matt Lovell. Matt, how are you today, sir?
Great. How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you. Finally, I've been listening to your album even just before we came on here, just to reacquaint myself, because I heard it once and heard it a second time today. I'm really enjoying the whole vibe of what you've created here.
Well, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
What kind of it's sort of a country blues Nashville vibe, which is, Nashville's the area you're in. So I was wondering, what do you think it's classified as? You might have a different interpretation of what kind of music you're putting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I definitely. I don't know. I mean, genre is always a funny thing for an artist to kind of give to themselves. I don't get country very often. I do get Americana.
Uh-huh.
I grew up really influenced by a lot of like old gospel, like specifically Aretha's gospel recordings, and grew up around music. My parents are both musicians, or are both musicians, not professionally, but classically trained and all that. So, there's definitely a lot of different threads in the fabric there.
Yeah.
But whenever someone asks me what genre I'm in, I'm like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's whatever you wrote. You're a songwriter, and you could have picked any kind of genre, but you're probably writing and recording and playing what you feel,
Yeah.
Yeah. So Americana seems to be like a fallback position. Everything sort of funnels down into that one little bin of Americana music, and that's good, because I think it's in vogue these days. For the last 5-6 years, it's become a very popular genre to be acquainted with, or to be affiliated with. So
yeah, definitely.
That helps.
Yeah. It's becoming a wider and wider lane.
Yeah.
For sure. In terms of, I think a lot of things that aren't technically Americana have been classified as of late in that, category. But anyway, like I said, genre is just such a weird thing.
Yeah. All I know is that I listened to it, and it's a good feel. You listen to 9 tracks on this. It's an album. I assume it's not an EP. It's a full album that you recorded.
Yes.
Who produced this? Another Matt.
Yeah, Matt Odemark.
Uh-huh. What had you worked with him before, or how'd you get involved with this guy?
I met him through some friends of mine who are also musicians here in town. Somebody played him a demo of a song that I had been working on. I had actually just finished it, I think, at that point. It's on the album. It's called 90 Proof. And basically he heard the demo, and which wasn't really even a demo. It was just like an iPhone, voice recording. And we met for lunch, and then Murder, She Wrote. We before we knew it, we had set up time to record the first batch. I was at first going to just do like a 6-song EP with him, and over the course of the year that we were working and meeting and recording and all that, it kind of just evolved. We ended up doing 12 songs together, maybe more actually, and we've whittled them down into the album, which is 9 songs.
Oh, good. Yeah, back in the old days, you could have had B-sides. You had all kinds of different extra bonus tracks or something like that. So
right.
Who knows? Maybe those will see the light of day another time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if are they sort of time sensitive to this one session that you did, or you think those other songs that you didn't make it will be material, get some life later on, you think?
Yeah, there's definitely potential for that. I am going to be putting out, I'm pretty sure, one of the songs in particular later this year, especially with nobody saw the pandemic coming with much notice. So
No.
my release plan was already really rolling. So, and I'm sure there would have been a way to halt it, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. I wanted to keep going. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to have some more material to share. Hopefully at that point we'll be returning to, I don't know if normal is a word now, but at least we'll be around each other. And it is very strange to kind of like release this literally from my apartment. I'm not seeing people at all. So
That's a weird thing. I mean, pandemic has affected many of the guests I've talked to lately have been affected this way. One second, Matt. Hi. Anything? As you can tell, we're all working from home. Matt's doing that too. My wife just walked in and I waved to her. There are dogs in the background. So, you know, working at home is something
oh yeah,
I do from time to time, but you know, at very soon he may have to like take a quick pause and check something and then he'll come right back. So be prepared. We might be in the middle of a sentence and Matt's going to say, I got to do something real quick. So I'm just warning the people what's going on here. I don't try to hold anything back on the show, but love to talk about your album in a second here. But I did write a couple of notes down. I found that you have a pretty, I mean, we can talk about some of the songs and a story. I looked into what happened to you a couple of years ago. I mean, there was a shooting, a carjacking where you almost died, and we'll talk about that. Doesn't that sound like fun, Matt? We'll talk about that. My goodness, that's I sort of broke the news a little early, but before we get to that point, because that might be the star of this program today, is your story of tragedy and coming back from it, and a lot of that. So I don't know, I'm sort of rambling on. Why don't we talk about, where were you born and raised? Out there where you are?
I wasn't born here, but my parents met here in the 80s here in Nashville, and they were both studying music here at the time. And we moved back when I was a teenager. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. And so when I was a teenager, we moved back. I think I was 14, going on 14. And so I spent kind of the final years of those kind of being raised and kind of that part of your formative era here in Nashville. And I've moved around a lot as an adult, but I've always ended up back in Nashville, and I love it here. I really resonate with it. It feels like home. And being a musician, it's really something that would be hard to leave. Every time I've left, I've missed my friends, of course, but also the music scene here. So. And
look at what you happened to perfect place to be doing music. That music scene. I guess you couldn't get away from it. You didn't have to be a musician or a songwriter when you're in Nashville, but you ended up doing that. How were you destined to become? Oops.
So sorry. Nope, that's fine. I don't know why that went off. I apologize.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how were you destined to be, what you're doing today? Did you have dreams of being a songwriter or a musician, guitar player, anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely did. I grew up loving music. I mean, my dad was my first guitar teacher. When I was 11 years old, I picked up the guitar, and my mom was classically trained on piano, and my papa toured around like in the 50s with quartets and stuff. So nice. I was really steeped in music. Like we sang 3-part harmony every night, kind of being tucked into bed. So I don't really remember when my fascination with music began, because it was just always a part of the atmosphere in our home. But I remember around the time that I picked up guitar, which was age 11, that I was listening to music and really kind of paying attention to how, like, just what a record was, like what a collection of songs was, and just became very fascinated with artists, but also very curious about them as people and their creation process. And I don't know, I remember having thoughts about Nashville. We didn't live in Nashville at that time. We were in Pennsylvania, which is where I spent a lot of my childhood.
Oh, really? Okay.
And just being very fascinated by you know, that lifestyle, the creation process. So I wanted to make an album for sure, like even before I was a teenager. So here we are all these years later, and I finally have one.
That's good. That's the typical, that's a good realization of your musical dream coming to fruition. So, and it's, is it just getting started? Have you been doing this for a little bit? You know, you got this one album here. Had you had other albums before this?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I don't have any other albums, but I've released a few singles over the years. I really didn't. Well, I recorded the album in 2016, and then I was shot in a carjacking right as we were finishing like the mixing mastering process, and so obviously I had to halt the release of all that while I kind of recovered from all that, which was a very drawn out process. So I released a song right after I was shot, just because I had a feeling that it was going to be a while before I would return to, you know, full blown like playing out and getting ready to release. But I wanted to do something to kind of touch base with people, because I think a lot of people, I mean, when something like that, like a shooting happens, people kind of come out of the woodwork from your past, like just reaching out and sending their love and support. So I wanted to do something as an artist to kind of just connect with people, not to make a parade of it or anything, but just to kind of establish that kind of, because at that point I hadn't released any of the songs that we had been working on for so long. So yeah, but this will be my first full length, and very thankful that it's finally going to be out in the world. It's been a long time coming. So.
Yeah. So the song you're talking about, was it Nobody Cries Today, or was
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one. So you released it afterwards. I thought, but you had been working on it before that, right? Before the shooting happened.
Yeah, for sure. It was already going to be the title track of my album. And I actually texted my friend and the man who produced my album, Matt Mark, and said, hey, I don't know if this is a strange or ridiculous idea, but I would love to go ahead and put out a song, and I feel like Nobody Cries Today would be appropriate, because I just wanted people to know that I was doing all right, and that, you know, it might take a minute to get better, but I was so full of gratitude and really honestly finding a lot of silver linings in the whole ordeal. So in all of that, we did decide to release Nobody Cries Today.
Nobody cries today, not if I have my say. The devil's lying ways ain't got no hold. Nobody stands alone. I carry your troubles with my own. Until lighter days are all we know. Whoever loves you, it makes them different. Puts the cover in their darkest place. The pain of yesterday no longer has a place. The hurt that used to chase us down is giving up. There's no need to run no more. I don't know why you're crying for. latter days. Whoever loved is it makes them different. Love puts the color in their darkest place. So nobody cries today. Not if I have my say. Open your eyes to light of day, light of day, light of day.
Obviously that was a life-changing event, what happened to you, but do you see any changes in yourself 3 years later, like during that period versus pre-shooting? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you must do you have a different outlook on life,
Yeah, definitely. I think that, almost losing your life and then doing the work that's required to get through a traumatic aftermath of something like that gives you the opportunity to really, do some digging in your inner world and kind of sort some things out. So I was very thankful for that piece of it, for sure.
Yeah.
As grueling as it might have been at times, it was very life-giving in a lot of ways. And there's certainly, I would say overall, I'm thankful for the whole experience. It was not easy, but, very, very grounding in a strange way.
It is. My wife and I can attest to that thing. We had different, we had health things where we, both of us were at the doorstep and came back. So if you understand what I'm saying, especially my wife had almost died, and I'm so thankful she's back.
Yeah.
So we go through life not complaining a lot about anything,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's happened for you, but we try to remember this was 5 years ago, 4 years ago for her. And we still remind ourselves that, that life can be taken, or it can, God can knock you to your knees a couple of minutes and without warning. And you have to be prepared that something like that could happen to you. So.
It's amazing what you learn through those things, I guess.
Yeah. So since we're kind of glossing over, take me through this a little bit. I read the story, the news story on Channel 5 that what happened to you. It was basically you were in your car and somebody wanted to take it. They wanted to carjack you, and they shot you point blank in the chest and this was over in the 5 Points area, like where you live in East Nashville somewhere?
Yes, I was not living there at the time, but
okay.
I was there with some friends, and I was just around the corner from 5 Points, which is have you been there?
No, I'm familiar with a little bit of the area, just having known everybody, but you're probably the first person from that area in Nashville that I've talked to since the pandemic started. So
yeah,
I don't even know what it's like out there at this time. Is it quiet out there today?
It's very quiet here, and we were hit by a tornado just before the pandemic.
Right, I do remember that. Yeah. How Barry? Did it come near you?
It wasn't near me, but it was very close to the area in which I got shot, which was kind of odd. I mean, I went down to the morning after the tornado, and it was just kind of weird because, I have a lot of memories in that area. It's where a lot of, it used to be where a lot of musicians hung out. Now it's more of a tourist area.
Yeah.
And that's changed just in the last 3 or 4 years. It's not as it's I don't know. Nashville's changing a lot.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, you were shot, and do you still have memories of what happened? Were you obviously you might have been in shock. You were I understand there was a doorman that was integral to helping you stay alive at the time before you got rushed to medical care.
Yes. So I ran back to the establishment where I had been with my friends, which is Red Door. It's a very popular bar over there.
Uh-huh.
And the doorman had that very day finished his training to be an EMT. So he immediately started kind of assessing me and helped to really get things expedited. By the time the actual EMT crew got there, that he was able to give them information that I really think proved to be vital in saving me, really. So it was kind of a wild night.
I'm treating this story as if these things happen every day, but this is mind blowing that you can think about. Does this make you believe a little bit in a greater hand in all this? I mean, you were almost meant to have this happen to you, and then by coincidence, maybe this doorman was had medical training or was undergoing that at the time. It could have been anybody, but this guy just happened to have some knowledge of that, So
yeah,
that's
certainly
weird.
Makes one wonder, what might be going on behind the curtain.
Yeah, I do too. So, so then you get rushed to the hospital. I saw pictures of you in the bed and everything. There was a woman posing with you. Was that your mother, or was that somebody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably my mom.
Yeah, that was it must have been tough for those two, your parents.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Definitely brought us even closer. Really thankful for them. Yeah.
The after all this happened, though, you had some friends rally around you. From what I read, about 3.5 weeks later, a GoFundMe page had been started, and they raised like $43,000 at that time, and a good friend of yours headed up the effort to put on a concert in your honor, to raise some money.
Yeah, there was a lot of support that came from friends and other musicians, and I had a lot of medical bills and other needs. So people, it was beautiful to witness. Just the, I think a lot of times we're kind of, the story that we're told is that humans aren't looking out for each other anymore, and that really wasn't my experience. In the wake of the shooting, I found so much support, help, and love. So yeah.
That's a great deal of money. I hope it was enough. I mean, it sounds like a lot. It should have covered everything, I hope. So
it didn't quite, but I mean,
okay.
there's a wonderful organization here called Music Health Alliance, and another one called Music Cares. So just the combined effort of everyone kind of stepping in to help, I was in a really good place, which I'm very thankful for. It was just another thing that came together so beautifully, and yeah, I could have really been could have been a different story.
Another musician who was credited. I mean, he was credited for the GoFundMe. Charlie Lowell, is this a guy you know very well?
Yeah, a really good friend of mine.
From Jars of Clay. So that's kind of nice. The everybody taking care of each other in their own way, and that's a great thing. And this is all 3 years ago. How are you feeling today now that you have this wound that's healing up? Probably even now it's probably healed up, but the memories don't go away so quickly, do they?
No, but therapy is amazing. I mean, I've always been a big believer in therapy, and certainly after the shooting, delved into that even more. But thank you for asking. I feel great, to be honest. Like, it's been about 3 years now, and yeah, like I feel very spacious and free at the moment. We'll see about next year.
No, I understand. Yeah, well, who knew all this other stuff was going to happen? I mean, this is no picnic, but there are much worse things going on in the world that, or at least in your own life, that you got to deal with. Even though everybody takes care of each other, you got to take care of yourself as well. So I hope that's what you're doing these days.
Yeah. Trying to. I think we all are. Helps me to just get outside of myself, though. I think that's one of my favorite life hacks, is not to worry about myself so much. Try to, I feel like anytime that I stay in my own head or in my own in my own to-do list of things that I have to worry about, I really don't get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll like nudge it up the mountain just a little, but the best relief I get usually from my own, funk is connecting with other people, which is a challenge in COVID, but thank God for iPhones, right?
Yeah. Boy, are we seeing a lot of iPhone stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got something going on in their home. And I mean, how's obviously you're working, both of us, our day jobs are taking some of our times, but it's not, it's probably not what it used to be. Hopefully you're getting okay, keeping busy at home with your day job.
Yeah, I'm staying busy. I do have a day gig that I'm able to do here. Very thankful for that. I live alone, so I've been just trying to occupy myself with projects. I garden a little and doing a little painting, which has been really fun, and writing, and trying not to. I'm not much of a Netflixer. I'm not much of a TV person, so I'll have my nights, where I'll something will catch my eye and I'll dive into it. But I haven't been bored yet, so that's been good.
No, same here. When I hear people getting bored, I say, well, just keep yourself occupied with these other things. You won't be bored because I had plenty of things to do when this happened. I mean, I still got I probably have another year's worth of things I could be doing right now. So it's not like I'm trying to make up activities like I'm seeing. And we don't have little kids in the house, so that's probably another a factor. You see a lot of commercials and stuff with the parents dancing around with their kids and doing this. This is an opportunity for them to get to know each other. Hopefully they're not getting sick of each other. That's going stir crazy. That's a tough thing too. But hey, we all gotta get through this somehow, and hopefully it'll be, hopefully we'll be crawling out of this this lockdown stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
So that was basically the story. I hope I treated the story of your shooting with kid gloves, so I didn't want to depress everybody nor you. You probably have told it to many a person in private and in public, but has it been? Have you come to peace with this as far as that violent act that happened to you 3 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was at peace with it from the get-go. It just had some work to do surrounding it. So
that's good to know that you've sounds like you got a good attitude. Plenty of other things. I'll touch on something because it was in your it was in the headline of your thing. So you also were I'll just read the quote here. No, I won't, because I can't find it. From memory, you said you were coming to terms with what it was like to be a gay man in the South. That's kind of that invites conversation for a second. So as a gay man, did you have a tough time?
Yeah, I think. Where'd you grow up?
Southern California. I'm in Orange County here.
Yeah, a lot of people who didn't grow up in the South can't believe that it was still difficult in my lifetime. And I would venture to say that not only was it, but it probably still is. This part of the country is very behind the times when it comes to accepting a lot of people. So it was very hard. And that was something that the shooting afforded me the opportunity to work through, was to kind of just deal with anything going on under the hood. And certainly a lot of my malfunction centered around, growing up feeling unhuman, really. Wasn't a very hospitable environment for gay people in the Nashville that I grew up in, which was the Nashville of the late 90s and early 2000s.
Okay.
So
you'd be under 50 years old then. You're like, what are you, around 40-ish or?
No, I'm in
younger?
my 30s. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay. See, even in the South, I mean, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask, because I can't believe that in this in this day and age, or even, 25 years ago, like you're talking about. It could, there are plenty of the old ways, but I thought everybody, there's pretty much a general acceptance of this nowadays. So
Yeah.
I want to say I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Each person has to deal with it in their own way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not I guess I see that in the same way. It's kind of like, well, I don't know what I'm here on earth to learn, but all of these things kind of help you learn, or they cause suffering. And there's been a lot of times when I've really had to make that choice, and a lot of times that choice has taken me a long time to make. But yeah, I mean, everybody's got stuff in their bouquet that they don't love dealing with, Yeah.
Whenever I talk to somebody of that orientation, I will I sometimes make the not joke, but I always say that, I always ask this question. I'll just ask it to you and see if I get the same answer or not. What was more difficult for you to do? Come out to your parents, or to tell your parents that, hey, I want to be a musician?
Oh, well, probably the musician thing was easy. They were always supportive of that.
Yeah. See, I got that already from what you said earlier. So
yeah,
but, not everybody has the same thing. They say, oh, it's probably harder telling
true.
them I wanted to be a songwriter or something like that, because it's
I have friends who, they're, that was like the worst parents or news they ever gave their parents. So, which that was quite the opposite with the household that I grew up in. They were almost erred on the side of being too supportive. So
yeah. Who knew you were gay first, them or you? Were they already figured out?
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to ask them.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I don't remember when I knew. I know it was pretty early, but yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to ask them.
I'm glad I'm asking some good questions now, because I'm a little bit, I think I'm a little thrown off by the way we started. We had, for the folks listening and watching at home, we had a little internet snafu, and, it was a small technical problem that was solved quickly. But, anytime that happens, I go, oh,
yeah,
we can't have a perfect show again. So, obviously, nothing is perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I'm one of these perfectionists that just wants everything to go off without a hitch. Doesn't happen that way. Did you find that when you do shows and stuff, have you ever had anything go wrong that you had to
all the time?
Name something that might have happened. Anything that you can recall where you had to quickly try to figure out, what are we going to do now?
Just issues with tuners. I mean, I had several shows in the span of, it was the same year, I think. I used to have a guitar that had the input that required a 9-volt battery, and the 9-volt battery the guitar that I play now live doesn't. It just, you go straight in and, but this one had like a preamp or something. I'm not very techie, but I think it was a preamp. We'll call it that.
Okay.
And the 9-volt battery kept running out on me, and I kept forgetting to bring an extra 9-volt. Of course, anyway, but it would.
Was that like a pedal or a transmitter that you're talking about?
It was like a EQ type situation where I could like mess with like the bass and treble and all the whatever.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
But it kept dying like mid-set. I think this happened maybe 3 times in the same year, which is really a lot. You think you would learn the first time and that would be it, but I didn't. But when it would die, it would distort before it would totally die. So it would almost sound like an electric guitar. So I remember one time I was playing a set and I just decided to run with it. And it was kind of fun, actually. And then someone miraculously had a 9-volt battery in the audience. And we've since become friends.
Oh, good.
That night we didn't know each other, and she just brought me this 9-volt battery. She doesn't even play guitar either, which is just funny that she had one.
Another meant to be story, huh? She had it.
Absolutely.
That's great. I like that story. Thank you for coming up with that one on the spot. What are most of your shows like? Do you have a full band that you perform with, or is it you on with just the guitar, or what do you do?
I do both. Just depends on the show. I've played a lot, just me and my guitar over the years. But around 2015, 2016, when I was wrapping up the writing and then beginning the recording of the record, I started playing a lot more with the band. So it just depends on the night. I love both, honestly. It's just a totally different thing, though. You know,
Yeah.
I feel most connected to an audience when it's just me and my guitar. But I love collaborating with other people. So that's I just love playing with the band as well. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good segue into your album. Nobody Cries Today. I'm just going to reset for everybody. June 5th, 2020. That's when it's going to come out. And 9 songs. And I was wondering, when you talk about collaborating, did you write every single one that was on this album, or are some of them collaborations with other people?
Yeah, there are some co-writes for sure. I wrote Trouble, 90 Proof, and Sabotage, which I think are actually the first 3.
That's it. Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah.
Which that wasn't intentional. We didn't intentionally put the ones that I wrote first. The rest of the songs, I believe, all of the rest of them were co-written.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not like one of the Nashville writers, and I'm not like I respect people that do this, and I, in fact, am completely amazed by them that they can do this. But I'm not the kind of writer that writes with a new person every day, kind of a factory kind of situation where you might have 2 or 3 co-writes a day. Maybe at some point in my life I will do that, but most of my co-writing in my experience has been just with a handful of people that I've gotten really close with, and we have chemistry and history. And so I wrote the songs on this album were co-written. A lot of them were co-written with my friends Tim Jackson and Mandy Cook. We all lived together for a while in Florida, which is where Tim is from. We lived with him for a while. And then that was in 2012, and that's kind of when I first started to I think that those were actually my first co-writing experiences, and became some of the first songs that made it onto my album. And Mandy and Tim both went on to record some of the songs as well on their own projects. But I've written as well with Charlie Lowell, who played on the album. He wrote the song "Be Free" with me and Tim. Who else? Oh, my friend Mike Applegate, who I co-wrote the final track on the album, "The Way That It Was." Co-wrote that with him. And Dime Adios, of course, the duet with Lee Nash, we wrote that together, which was a really fun experience. But yeah, I love co-writing, and it's totally, I mean, anytime you finish a song alone, it feels like something just fell into your lap out of thin air. Sometimes it feels like that anyway. Sometimes it feels like, just whatever, but sometimes it feels like a bit of a moment, but to be able to share that moment with other people is really amazing. So
that's good. Yeah. Only 3, and then the rest co-writes. It's a whole different experience, different kind of energy when you're writing with other people, isn't it? Than just take the whole thing on yourself,
Big time.
But then again, it's an expression. It's a soul expression of yourself when you do the song all by yourself, and you've figured out the melody and everything, and you can sit back and go, "That was mine. I like that."
Absolutely.
Whether it becomes a hit or not, it's your personal thing. So, and whether you co-write, even though these people are writing with you, is most of it autobiographical stuff from your life?
Some of it, for sure, but then some of it's just kind of playful and full of a little zest for life. Like Alligator Lily was completely just sort of a made-up bit of a fun time.
Yeah.
Alligator Lily, twinkle in your eye, tide is rolling in, pulled by the moon up in the sky. Alligator, Alligator Lily, putting my foot down in the water, one toe at a time. I could go on slowly, but I'm hungry for a dive. Alligator, Alligator Lily, come down to the water. Come down seeing nothing but a pair of shiny eyes. Alligator, alligator lily, drunk on salty water, in up to my thighs. You might be the devil, but I'm feeling all baptized. Alligator, alligator lily. There's a deeper kind of trouble looking for me out there. Come on in the waters, but I let you come up for it. Tasty fodder to appease your appetite. Alligator, alligator lily, come down into the water, come down to the water.
But there are songs like The Way That It Was, the final track on the album, was very real, very drawn from a deep personal space, as was 90 Proof. And I mean, I think I definitely put a little of my own experience into every song. I think a lot of writers that I know do that. I do a lot of it. I don't really tend to write completely fictional pieces. Usually it's something that I've lived a little bit of anyway. So
you reference something and you're something real, and then probably develop a story out of it. Yeah. 90 Proof, I got into that sort of grew on me. I wasn't drawn to it right away, but nice little good lyrical poetry in there. You know, I like the part where you say 90 proof of, you know, that's a good way to write a song. Any particular way to write a song that you're comfortable with? I understand that it's a lot of storytelling in your in the things you write.
Yeah, definitely a lot of storytelling. I mean, it kind of varies. I kind of go through phases where a certain approach will work, and I'll do that a few times and then move on. But yeah, I don't have like a equation that I use every time I write.
How about influences, people that you like listening to on the radio or whatever, and you get inspired by something that they did, and oh, I'd like to write something like that, and then you end up doing it?
Yeah, I grew up on Bonnie Raitt, and I loved, like I said, early like Aretha recordings, like her gospel recordings, little bit of Lauryn Hill. I loved bands like the one that Lee was in, and you know, still they'll release every now and then, Sixpence and the Richer. Loved Dolly Parton. In my like late kind of early 20s, I liked Ray LaMontagne, still love him to this day. Patty Griffin, Norah Jones, big hero of mine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just kind of all over the place. I can go on and on.
I didn't realize that that's who you're talking about when you start talking about Lee from Sixpence. Is that the girl that was singing with you on Dimi Adios?
Yeah.
Oh,
and she's also on the gospel.
Yeah, I heard her slight. Yeah, she's more in the background on that one, but it's almost like you're doing a duet with her on that other track on Dimi Adios. Yeah, that's a cool one too. That's very old fashioned. When you talk about, you know, this stuff isn't country, but that sort of sounds like an old cowboy type.
Yeah, it does. I get that for sure.
Yeah, a little country western feel to it. And
Yeah.
Dime adios, say goodbye to me. Uno quedo de los dos. May the road ahead be easy. Dime adios. And if you ever dream of me, que sueñas con los angelitos, may your memories be sweet. What you wish for, what you live for, what you never said, 'cause you hesitated for too long. Now you're hanging out the back of a train as it races to a brand new station, too far gone. Dime adios, say goodbye to me. Uno quedo de los dos. May the road ahead be easy. Dime adios. And if you ever dream of me, que sueñas con los angelitos, may your memories be sweet.
Gonna miss you, but I wish you never shed a tear when you think about our past. Long ago, it was golden. That's the thing about a moment. It's not meant to last. Dime adios, say goodbye to me. Uno quedo de los dos. May the road ahead be easy. Dime adios. And if you ever dream of me, que sueñas con los angelitos, may your memories be sweet. Dime adios, say goodbye to me. Uno quedo de los dos. May the road ahead be easy. Dime adios. And if you ever dream of me, que sueñas con los angelitos, may your memories be sweet. Que sueñas con los angelitos, may your memories be sweet.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. So, sometimes I don't go too deep into the lyrics, so that's why I asked you what some of these songs are all about. I mean, is that another one of those things where you just sort of you went with what you felt rather than experience?
Yeah, for sure. That was
Yeah.
definitely kind of one of those where we were kind of just playing in the sandbox and running with our, imaginations. And we had a little help as well, translating, because neither one of us speak Spanish fluently. So, I mean, I had 2 years of it in high school, and I don't know what kind of Spanish Lee has taken, but neither one of us are conversational. Like we can just pick out a few words kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we had some help translating, which was very sweet of her friend to do that for us.
Well, the whole thing didn't sound like it was in Spanish. There was a lot of English in it. So
Yeah, for sure.
I enjoyed that. What was the? Let me go through a couple of these real quick. You were talking about Ray LaMontagne. I don't even know if I pronounce his name that way, but
yeah,
and who's another one that was you were compared to Amos Moss or something, and then
Amos Lee.
Amos Moss. What am I talking about? I'm thinking somebody must have been somebody I known. And then John Mayer, which on the track Trouble, that's about as John Mayer as it sounds, but it stops there because I don't get that vibe from any of the other songs that you did. But there is sort of a John Mayer quality to your singing in that one song, Trouble. Yeah,
I can see it. I mean, it's that's in the realm of like not my job to tell you who I sound like. I get that occasionally. I don't see it. I love John Mayer, by the way. But I don't know. Music's so funny. Like everyone kind of identifies with it how they will, and you don't really have control over that as an artist. So, and I don't really want to either. So. No,
I know what that's like. I had, when I sing, I have a totally different style than the way you're hearing me talk, and I had sort of that whispery John Mayer quality. So when he came out, a lot of people saying, "Hey, that guy rips your sound," like that. And I said, "So I understand. I walk a tightrope when I talk about comparing, somebody like yourself to another artist, because then you go like, oh, forget that. I sound like me, not like them." But I like your influences. Great, all those artists. That early Aretha Franklin gospel stuff, that's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, so good. She's amazing.
Yeah. One of the songs that sounded like it was gospel-y was Be Free, which is something you just mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And you wrote that with Charlie. That's almost a gospel type. It sounds like a gospel anthem without the choir singing behind you. It sounds like there could be a choir ready to come and do some background with you.
Yeah, we should do a version like that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, who knows? But tell me a bit. That's had some play on, I think on Spotify and it's getting some traction out there. What's that about? Be Free.
That song was written. That song and Nobody Cries Today are both kind of. I see them as kind of two parts of the same sentiment or two parts of the same story. 2016 was the year that I was making this album, and most of the songs have been written, but Nobody Cries Today and Be Free were written while I was recording the album. And so they were kind of born out of that strange year that we were having. I mean, it was a very tense election year. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of dissension and a lot of just really unrest in the air that year. And so that was kind of, both of those songs are kind of written as kind of us trying to stir up a little hope and kind of get through the year, to be honest.
Sounds like hopeful stuff. I'm glad that that's how you intended it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. And just by chance, you were shot on the inaugural day for the swearing in of the president. So that's a tough day for a lot of people, I guess. People were really upset that day, and they were set. And you had other things going on when that was going on. So you were busy being rushed to the hospital. So
yeah,
the way that it was, you touched on that for a second. So is that another that was very personal to you, even though that you didn't write that all by yourself, but
I wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it with my dear friend Mike Applegate. We actually wrote it as his kitchen table, and it wasn't like we were not getting together to write. We were just hanging out, and that song just kind of happened. And very personal. A lot of people really kind of talked to me about that one because I think everyone has a way that it was in their own life. And I think that's one of the most personal songs. It's one of my favorites, just because it feels like a little bit of a time capsule of where I was in that year.
Understood.
I've been looking over my shoulder to see if I'm still there. I had a feeling I should be leaving. I don't know where. The way that it was ain't how it's supposed to be. Just because somebody said it's right for me, don't mean that it is. The way that it was ain't no way to live. Somebody said it's right for me, don't mean that it is. The way that it was, the way that it was, the way that it was, ain't no way to
We talked about 90 Proof, but maybe go a little deeper on that one. What was that? What caused you to get an idea to write a song like that? It's pretty touching, you know.
Thanks. Yeah, that one's about a relationship that I was having a little trouble putting to bed, and it's about moving on. And my brother calls it a sad song with a little dignity, because it's not totally heartbroken. It's just this kind of in that phase of heartache where you're ready to move on, but you haven't yet, which is a very tense kind of spot to be in. So I wrote that. I was actually working in a restaurant at the time, and I wrote it in the middle of a shift, kept sneaking off to the bathroom with my phone so I could record little snippets that I was writing bit by bit. And then at the end of the day, I went home and put it down with guitar, found the guitar part that I wanted to put with it, and which is not how I write. Normally I write with my guitar in hand, you know, it kind of all happens at the same time.
Yeah.
But that was one of the rare songs, one of the only times I've ever written a complete melody, line, everything, and then just put guitar to it later. So yeah, it was kind of a fun moment. And I thought it was going to be one of those songs that I would never even share. And I sent it to just a couple friends, and people really connected with it. So yeah, it's funny. There we are again. Like, you really don't have a lot of control over what resonates with people.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that it's public and everybody's liking it, you personally, I mean, you wrote from your heart, and about, you know, putting that relationship to, you know, giving it some closure. I guess that's what you were telling me. And how'd that feel once you had completed that for yourself? How did it feel?
Yeah, it was kind of nice. I mean, I guess writing about real life is always kind of cathartic, but it's still your real life. Like, it doesn't really, there's no magic tricks for that kind of thing, but it certainly helps. Gives you a little souvenir too for later. You can remember, oh,
it
this
is
what it was like then, you know.
That's what you were going through. Yeah, a lot of people will do that. It's and writing something anonymously, even though somebody might figure out that that's about them or it's loosely based on them. I've had that. My wife has accused me. Oh, that's about me, isn't it?
Oh God.
No, don't jump to conclusions.
Awkward.
Yeah, yeah, it's happening. Or I'll just say something that was it was just an exaggerated line out of nowhere, and then I go, let's not walk on eggshells, dear. I'm doing I'm
Right.
I'm trying to create something here. And I was just going with the flow. That sounded good. So I don't know. Do you ever, I'm only speaking from my perspective. Like I get that perfectionist streak, and I start
Yeah.
to write something and I go, oh man, this is bugging me that I can't complete this one verse because I don't know how to say it perfectly. Do you ever go through that, or you just know how to
Yeah.
write it down and take care of business, so to speak?
Oh no, I definitely deal with that. A lot of times I'll have a song that I'll carry around for a while before I finish it, for that very reason. So, and some songs are really stubborn, you know.
Yeah.
Some songs just they want to be done in like half an hour, maybe less. Some songs, I mean, Trouble, I wrote that chorus like 3 years before I finally wrote the verses. I think it was about 3 years. So, you know, I try not to rush it. Sometimes I feel like I should rush it more, but that's just not my style, I guess.
If you rush it, it might not come. It's like it gets stuck in there. Do you ever? That's kind of what I go through sometimes too. In that particular song, Trouble, were you carrying that around in your head for a while, or just thinking, you know, from time to time, I could probably use that?
I had the chorus for a while, and it's kind of one of those that when I was hanging out with musician friends, I'd play it for them, and a lot of people really enjoyed it, you know. But I had no idea. I didn't even know where to start with the verses. I didn't know what I wanted them to sound like. I didn't know anything. I didn't have chords. I didn't have a melody. I didn't have any even idea of like what I should say there. And I had booked some studio time to like just lay some stuff down. I didn't know what I was going to do with the recordings. Ended up doing nothing with them. But the night before that studio time was booked, I just wrote sort of like these verses, and I ended up loving them. So sometimes a deadline helps. It's not very often that you have a deadline in songwriting land, at least in my experience. You know, people with pub deals, they'll have that, you know.
It pushes you, yeah.
But I did have a deadline, and I loved that chorus, so I was like, I really want to record this, but I have to have verses. So,
it's a good song, and it's a good way to open up that album. It's a good song. I like that. I like Trouble.
Thank you.
But when you're writing stuff, you told me that you like to have your guitar ready, so when you're starting to write something, or maybe you're just like playing on the guitar one day and something comes to you. Do you ever have ideas for songs or lines that come at the wrong time, like when you're in the shower or you're cooking or you're driving in the car and you can't write anything down? Do you ever have that happen? Yeah.
All the time.
What do you do?
I usually just pull out my phone and record it right there. If anybody ever went through my phone, they would think I was crazy. Because I've just got like, sometimes my phones will run out of memory because of all the voice memos. And a lot of it's not any good, and a lot of it's poorly recorded. Like you'll hear like the turn signal in the back because I'm trying to drive.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So
I'm the same way. I understand that, and to this day, I for some reason I can't bring myself to erase them because I go, well, maybe I'll want it. Maybe there was one little thing in that recording that I can use, but never happened really. So yeah, you collect all this stuff, but the point is, or the goal is to actually get it out and write it down and make something out of it, right? But
yeah,
these are just thoughts. I'm glad you do that. It's nice that we have a very easy portable audio recorder in our pocket called our phone.
Right? Yeah.
I've been standing in my kitchen 'cause I won't go down the hall. Music's playing, but I don't listen. Yeah, my phone's plugged in the wall. I would call you up one last time, but you would say I lost my mind. I got 90 proof, and I ain't over you. And I'm an honest drunk. I got 90 proof, and I ain't over you, and I'm an honest drunk. I'm an honest drunk. I'm an honest drunk tonight.
And we're back to wrap it up. I want to thank my very special guest, Matt Lovell, for being here with me and sharing his life and his music with me. Make sure you go and check his album out. His album is called Nobody Cries Today, and it's available on MattLovellMusic.com. Make sure you spell Matt and Lovell correctly. Two T's in Matt, 2 L's at the end of Lovell Music. MattLovellMusic.com. And you go to his store and check out the videos, and make sure you he's got some great vinyl that you can buy too on there, so, of his album. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yes.
Pretty cool. Everybody's into that. If you got a turntable, you're going to want this. It's certainly something to check out, and it'll be available on June 5th of 2020. Even if you're seeing this and that date that I just told you is in the past, you're still going to love this kind of stuff. It's a great album. Little bluesy, in my opinion. I love it. So that's my kind of stuff. So, and you're really going to enjoy the lyric quality. He is quite a poet, and I like your music, Matt. And I was hoping that maybe you could share a little bit of it now for the audience as to take us out. You know, before I ask you the final question, maybe you can do a couple of songs here. Can you do 90 Proof? I really like that song.
Oh, thank you so much.
And you're free to do whatever you want, but I like that song, and I was just putting in a request for you.
Yeah, I'll never say no to singing 90 Proof. It's one of my favorite ones to sing.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, I'll mute myself so that everybody can enjoy the song. You all set?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. 90 Proof from Matt Lovell. Here we go.
All right. I've been trying to lose your number, but my fingers won't forget. 7553400. If you ever changed, yeah, I recall you one last time. What you would say, I lost my mind. I got 90 proof that I ain't over you, and I'm an honest drunk tonight. I've been standing in my kitchen, 'cause I won't go down the hall. Music's playing, but I don't listen, and my phone's plugged in the wall. I recall you one last time. What you would say, I'd lost my mind. I got 90 proof that I ain't over you, and I'm an honest drunk tonight. Ooh. Yeah. I would call you up one last time, but you would say I'd lost my mind. I got 90 proof that I ain't over you, and I'm an honest drunk. I'm an honest drunk. I'm an honest drunk tonight.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's excellent. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, it's nice hearing that on the guitar, you know, as opposed to the studio track. Really a different vibe. You can really feel the emotion.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you must have played it a bunch of times now, but you can still feel that feeling in it. So
yeah, it's one of those that came from a real place. Actually, when I was recording it, I was in the vocal booth at my producer's studio, and I was just kind of singing it, you know, like just singing it. And Matt Odemark, who produced my album, pulled me back in the control room and said, "Hey, I know this song comes from like a true place for you, so I want you to try to remember where you were, like personally and emotionally when you wrote it." And he cued the track once I got back in the room, and I started just tearing up. If you listen closely, you can hear me crying a little bit on that first verse. And somehow I got it together, and we kept that one take. And he actually gave me a box of tissues at the end of the day. It was so sweet to commemorate it.
that's good. Make sure you listen to that, everybody, when now that he's giving you a little hint about that verse. So listen for the tears if you can. So you got time for two more, or just the last one? Do you think you could do
yeah,
I was thinking maybe Be Free, but your choice. Tell me what you like.
Yeah, I can do Be Free.
Sure. Okay. Let me do the same thing. I'll mute myself so I don't get in the way of this. Matt Lovell playing Be Free. You got the floor, sir.
All right. Say it won't be long. Tell me when we gonna be free. The things we're working on, why they gotta be a dream. Out of all the things I want, it's the thing that can't be bought that I need. So somebody tell me when we gonna be free. Spending all our days trying to make it to the sun. But I don't want to go unless there's room for everyone. Out of all the things I want, it's the thing that can't be bought that I need. Oh, so somebody tell me when we gonna be free. Won't somebody tell me when we gonna be free? Dun dun da da, yeah. Oh, out of all the things I want, it's the thing that can't be bought that I need. Oh, So somebody tell me when we're gonna be free. Won't somebody tell me? Won't somebody tell me? Won't somebody tell me when we're gonna be free?
What a great performance.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And that's the song that's on, it's currently on his website. You know, he put that on the front page so you can check that out first. I don't know if that's a single or not, but it's a good one to have if that's the introduction to Matt Lovell. So is that your single?
Yeah, so 90 Proof came out in February, and then Alligator Lily in March, and we just put Be Free out in April. And I've got another single coming out on the 22nd of this month, May 22nd, which is Trouble.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I got a handful of singles going on here.
Good. Yeah, he's got a lot of music. You should check it out. Yeah, it'll be a tiny bit before he gets back on stage and perform for all of you. But you, in the meantime, you can get excited about this album, and you got a nice acoustic performance here from Matt. So that I really want to thank you for.
Of course, thank you for having me. This has been so nice.
Appreciate it. Be Free's the single that you wrote with your friend Charlie Lowell from Jars of Clay. So
yeah, Charlie Lowell and Tim Nash, we wrote that together.
Oh, okay, all three of you.
Yeah, the three of us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Sorry I left him out of the picture there.
No.
He's important too. So let's not. Everybody wants to make sure they get some credit for the song that they helped out on. So, but you're the one out in front singing it, and you do a very fine job of it. And I want to thank you for coming on. There's two things before Matt sings his final song to take us out. I'm going to say goodbye to him. Excuse me. I'm going to say goodbye to him, but at the end, I'd always like to ask him the final question of the day. And just as hate to cut you loose here, but it's late over there in Nashville. It's about probably bedtime for you now. It's 8 o'clock or something.
Late.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of time. It's only about 8 o'clock here. What is it? 8:18?
Yeah.
Yeah. Late for some folks.
Hey, Matt, thanks again. For other songwriters, out there who are, they're just like you, but as artists and creative types, our moods go up and down sometimes, and maybe one day you might be feeling sorry for yourself when a setback happens, or things aren't just going exactly the way you were really hoping for. Even though things are going to be okay, sometimes it's good when somebody else tells you, gives you that little pat on the back, and that's what we're all about here, is making sure that we encourage each other. So so what advice could you give for these other musicians and songwriters to keep their outlook in a positive light, especially during the low points? Even now, we're going through this period right now, so a lot of low points going on now. So what can you offer, if you could?
Yeah, that's a very timely question, I think, for everybody, musician or not. I certainly have my experience with the highs and lows. And it's very human. I would say my thing is try what you know. I think we all have our little box of magic tricks or kind of like tools that get us through, maybe snap us out of that. For me, those tools are, I usually try to get outside of myself. I've learned after many years that, especially after the shooting, one of the best things I can do is to get outside of myself, because when I'm just in my world trying to fix my problems, a lot of times my wheels spin a bit. But also distracting yourself with other creative things that don't feel like they have high stakes. I've been doing a lot of painting and a little bit of gardening during the quarantine. That's been kind of keeping my mind engaged, but not feeling so heavily responsible for anything, if that makes sense. Something with a deadline. But seriously though, a lot of days for me, I don't know about you, but sometimes those tools and magic tricks, they just don't work. So you just kind of wait it out and don't take your feelings too seriously. Some days, some days I try to give myself a little bit of a pass to just let time march on for a while,
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. We're all human, and, but you do have to realize there's always something good around the corner. So you can't ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Matt. That was a wonderful answer. I appreciate. Sorry it took me so long to get to it, but I always want to word it so eloquently, but in the end, it's just basically, hey, can you, what can you tell these people to just as a nice positive thing to shine on their world,
Yeah, well, this has been so lovely, and I appreciate you having me on. And I'm definitely going to be a listener, subscribing to your podcast, and
thank you.
What you're doing is great.
Well, you've been wonderful. And I'm not going to keep you on too long. Like I said, it's late, but everybody, I know they're going to really enjoy listening to you sing here on the show like you are, and they're going to love your album. So once again, everybody, Nobody Cries Today is Matt Lovell's album. Make sure you spell his name right, MATTLOVELL, music.com, mattlovellmusic.com. And his album will be out on June 5th, 2020. And it sounds really great. And he's going to take us out with one last song, probably the most poignant one. And Nobody Cries Today is something that means a lot to you as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we wrote this the day that Prince died, and was in the middle of 2016, which was a pretty tumultuous year. So it kind of came out of all that emotion.
Great. Okay, I'm going to do the mute thing, and this is Matt's last song, and want to appreciate you. I want to thank you one more time. Thank you for coming on the show. You've been a great guest. I really appreciate all your stories and insight. You were great.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm getting out of the way. Nobody Cries Today from Matt Lovell, and thank you again. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Dean. Nobody cries today, not if I have my say. The devil's lying ways ain't got nobody stands alone. I carry your troubles with my own until lighter days are all we know. Whomever love is in, it makes them different. Love puts the color in their darkest place. The pain of yesterday no longer has a place, and that hurt that used to chase us down is given up. There's no need to run no more. I don't know why you're crying for. Open your eyes to lighter days. the color in their darkest place, so nobody cries today. Not if I have my say. Open your eyes to lighter, lighter days, lighter days, lighter days, lighter days.
There you go. That's it. Oh, that is a wonderful tune. I want to thank Matt Lovell for being my guest today. I just gave you all that information. If you go to StrongWriter.com, that is StrongWriter, that's my site. I have a lot of archived episodes. Matt's going to go right there in the recent episodes. Make sure you look for him, Matt Lovell. We'll have the video and the audio portion for you. I just got to get out of here now. So until next time, this is Dean Olson, the Strong Writer on the radio. Signing off for now and saying to you all, let's all put our best pens forward, just like Matt, and be strong writers together. Now, go forth, have a wonderful weekend. God bless, take care, and we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye now.